Well, it's officially now past the time that all the trades are finalized. With this year's trade deadline, I love trade deadline day. It's one of my favorite days of the NHL season just because madness goes down. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap as to what St. Louis did. Not much, just a spoiler alert, but I'm going to have that all coming up here on Locked on Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So today was trade deadline day. It went, and I'm a little disappointed, and we'll get into that. The future games, obviously, the Blues have the Rangers and the Bruins. Yeah, that's gonna be sucky. And are you feeling blue? So, a lot to discuss today. Before I dive deeper into what I'm going to discuss, I just want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Visit fanduel.com/locked on to get started. So it is Friday, March 8th, 9 p.m. when this is being recorded. And the trade deadline ended about 5 hours ago. No, 6 hours ago. And off the bat, I can tell you that I'm a little surprised. Okay. I think at the end of the day, the Blues didn't do much. And I will obviously talk about the one thing that they did. Other than that, I was bored, okay? I was because it just didn't really, yeah, it didn't really do much for me, and yeah, it sucks. So what the Blues did receive though was it's riveting. It's from the Columbus Blue Jackets where Subban went, Malcolm Subban, who I did see play on the T-Birds down when I was in Hershey, but he went to the Columbus Blue Jackets for guess what? Guess what they get? Future considerations. Future considerations. Yeah, that's the one thing that the St. Louis Blues got with the trade deadline was future considerations. So yeah, that's it. So nothing else happened. You can say the Blues, they stood still, didn't do much. And well, that was all they did actually. It wasn't they didn't do much, they didn't do anything. And that was the Blues' riveting 2024 trade deadline. And listen, I know Doug Armstrong's been going through the ringer, and this is what he had to say. I thought there would be a little bit activity, but we were very quiet, quite honestly, the whole time. When you're being heavily scouted the last couple of weeks before the trade deadline, and we haven't played very good, it takes a little bit more fortitude for a pro scout to recommend acquiring someone. We were coming out of the All-Star break, hoping that maybe add a piece at some point. We won 2 games, and quite honestly, the bottom fell out. We were listening to potentially adding, but they weren't going too crazy. We charted a course at last year's trade deadline, and we're going to stay in that lane. We were going to try to acquire assets and try to stay competitive in the NHL, and the waters are going to be turbulent. They were early in the year, they were smoothed out for 6 or 7 weeks, and now they're choppy again. He's comparing the team to the water, by the way. The overall goal was to have to plan the future and plan for today. We weren't going to do that and use some of those assets we gained from last year. So we're not going to be a contending team. And we're not that type of market. Doug Armstrong literally just said because of the Blues not playing well, essentially, that's the reason why nobody picked up any of the players, which I do find a little hard to believe that that's the real reason. I I'm surprised. There were so many rumors, right? And I'm just surprised that's all that happened. I mean, you get Oscar Sundqvist, I made an extension, which is really good. I'm happy for Sonny, obviously. You have Subban that went to the Columbus Blue Jackets for future considerations. And there was rumors about Kota Parayko, Pavel Buchnevich, and different players, being traded to maybe Toronto Maple Leafs. They again, not my problem what other teams do. But then you have like the teams like this is why it's a reality check. You have teams like VGK, the Knights, who probably they won the trade deadline, okay? They did so well, and they followed all the rules, and I know what everyone's saying, "Oh my god, they're cheaters." I mean, I said it too, but, like, they really didn't cheat. It's unfortunate they kind of just sneaky, right? The Blues are in a different situation than VGK. VGK just won the cup last year. They could very well go back now. Definitely add some strength to their team. St. Louis, on the other hand, we know they're not cup contenders, and we know that, adding big assets wouldn't really do anything at this point in the season. If I were the Blues, what I would have done was think about the drafts. Think about the draft picks. Instead of future considerations, I understand that, Subban was an AHL goalie, and I get that. But and I know it was a salary dump, and I understand, but at least a 6th-round draft pick, even though I know that wouldn't have done anything really, you never know, and at least it's getting something back, and you could always leverage, like, a 6th-round draft pick and a package of somebody else to use for the future this offseason. I think that for me, I was really hoping the Blues would get, like, a really high draft pick. I wasn't necessarily looking for a player in particular that the Blues could add immediately, but I was more focused on getting a higher draft pick. I know Buchnevich, Bucci said that he wants to stay here and help the Blues get back on track with the team in the future and, all that. I know Sonny said the same thing. I know that these players want to be here. I I respect that. I do. I think when you have a group of players that are so passionate about the team that they're playing on, you have a good a group of guys that truly do care and love the St. Louis Blues and the organization that they play for. My focus is on the future of the team, and not all of these players, despite them being great guys, off the rink, on the rink, saying all the right things. My focus is still on the fact of, okay, how is this gonna help the team in years to come? And that's my biggest concern right now is that it's having a team with guys that, quite frankly, you couldn't get rid of stay. Is that gonna help this team grow? Is that gonna help this team develop? I mean, you wanna bring in younger players, you wanna get some good draft picks, but it just right now, I think them standing still, it also said a lot more to me than it did about anything going on right now because, standing still also means kind of like waving that white flag in a way, and it's like, "Okay, right now, we're not getting anything good on the market," and I can respect that, I really can. But also not making any draft picks when you have I mean, this was a really good draft, right? A lot of teams made some moves, not a lot of big moves, but teams made some moves, a lot of big moves, but I would have just tried to get a draft pick for one of my players, right? But again, I'm not the GM. I'm happy I'm not the GM, but the GM that we do have, sometimes I question a little bit of what was his original plan because he said they were quiet. And if you wanted to make moves, then why were you quiet for so long? Why weren't you talking to other GMs? Why weren't you talking to just anybody, your scouts even? Like, I don't understand this whole, oh, well, we were quiet. Yes. But even the San Jose Sharks, who are one of the worst teams in the NHL, respectively, because I'm not bashing the San Jose, that's not the point. They made a trade with Vegas. So you can't tell me that just because the Blues were playing bad, you couldn't make a trade with another team. That sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is, and I don't really care if I'm calling it out at this point. It is what it is, right? I do want to let you know about Factor because I love Factor and I need you to know about it. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready to eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go just in 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from every week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there's more than 60 add on options to help you stay fueled and help you feeling good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and get after your goals. You get 2 minute meals. Okay. Like, how amazing is that? Like, your meals will be ready in 2 minutes and you can just heat it up. Pancakes, smoothies, and more. And you can discover so many more options that they have, like breakfast, midday bites, and there's no prep, no mess. And it's easy and it fits into your schedule. And you know what also is good too? Is that if you sign up, it's actually less expensive than a takeout for every meal. So head to listen up, factormeals.com/locked-on50 and use code locked-on50 and get up to 50% off. That's code locked-on50 at factormeals.com/locked-on50 to get, I almost sneezed, locked-on50 to get 50% off. The future games. So St. Louis right now, as I told you, they're playing those Rangers and then the Bruins. That's our last two games of this road trip. The Rangers, I've said this before, they could be a cup contending team. The Bruins, I have also said this, they could be a cup contending team. I see them losing both of these games. I know I'm like so negative. I don't care. I don't care. Call me negative. Call me, oh my God, Haley, you're so negative. I am negative because I genuinely don't think this team is going to win. I know Bushi's going up against his old team. I know that they beat the Rangers at home last time. I know that. You have to tell me twice. It was a great, beautiful win of a hockey game. I just don't see them winning. Same with the Bruins. And the only game that I could really see them winning would be out of the two games, maybe the Rangers out of the Bruins, but I just don't see them winning either of those games. I was trying to be positive. I couldn't do that. Not good. It's gotten to the point where I'm generally concerned about this team because they have a tough stint of games ahead too. Besides, the game that they have coming up against New York tomorrow and Boston on Monday. They're also hosting the LA Kings on Wednesday. And then they have the Wild, and then they have Anaheim. I mean, they should beat the Ducks. Like, will they beat the Ducks? Probably not. And then Colorado, scary good team. Then they're at Ottawa, Minnesota, Vegas, Calgary, San Jose, Edmonton, Nashville, San Jose, Anaheim, Chicago, Carolina, Seattle, Dallas. Watch this team only win like 2 games out of these next couple. It's like insane. This is insane, okay? Like, just bear with me for a second. What is this team doing? They have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 2 and 5. Well, no. They're 2, 4, and 1 in that sense. Binnington didn't look great against the Devils because of those 2 early goals, but Hofer just looked like a mess against the Islanders. I mean, Binnington then looked really good against Philadelphia. I don't understand. It's this lack of consistency. Also, the defense doesn't help at all. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And people might laugh and be like, "Oh my God, Haley, you look at the standings so much." I mean, don't you? Like, seriously, don't you? Nashville, by the way, is almost 10 points ahead of us. They have 75 points. We're at 67. Behind us is Minnesota with 66. Yeah. Are we catching up to Nashville? Probably not. Probably not. And how do I feel about that? Brutal. I can tell you that. It's brutal right now. I mean, we had a chance in the West to potentially get a wild card spot, right? And we were right there. We were, right underneath that second wild card spot. Nail ahead of us is Seattle and Calgary. We are very well going to be eliminated from the playoffs very soon because if they don't win, and I told you this, how important this road trip was, if they only won that one game against Philadelphia, and then it's done. And you and I knew this. We talked about this. They had the lead against the Islanders and blew that. They could have come back against the Devils. They didn't. That's on them. It just sucks seeing the standings and just being like, yep, yep. We weren't even close. I mean, if you wanna look at in general, I mean, the Preds are ahead of, VGK, and VGK, I mean, they just went to the cup last year. I mean, they also got all these great players, so I'm assuming that they're gonna be a much better team to watch, but, yeah, they have 73 points, so, I mean, even to our 67, it's not good. Not good. So, St. Louis, I do apologize because, it's not looking good right now for the Blues. I'm gonna tell you about Indeed, and I'm gonna get your reactions on Are We Feeling Blue? So, I gotta tell you about my friends over at Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner, and that can do it all for you. Fun fact, it's Indeed. Indeed partners with you every step of the hiring process to find great talent through time saving tools at Indeed's instant match assessments and virtual interviews. With Indeed's match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed's matches that match you up with them. What I love about Indeed is that it's so easy to use and they really make it focus on giving you good quality matches. So don't ever feel like Indeed isn't doing the best to help you out when they truly are. And there's a reason why more than 3 million businesses worldwide use Indeed and find great talent fast. So start hiring right now. Okay, with $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at indeed.com/locked on. Offer valid through March 31st. Go to indeed.com/locked on to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? You need Indeed. Indeed, you do. I told you it's my favorite Friday segment. It is Are We Feeling Blue? And I asked you a little bit of a different question today because while I could say, Oh, are you feeling blue? I also just wanted to know how would tell me how you feel about this deadline. Um, I said to rate it. Some of you gave me some other answers. So Reno says incomplete. I agree. Blake says, Oh, do they have one? Yeah, they got future considerations, actually. Somebody else says it didn't exist. Hey, listen, they got future considerations. C1 says 0 out of 10. Valid. Matt says F. Again, valid. TZ says, I didn't expect much. Figured a guy like Cap or Blay would be a cut or traded. But other than that, I was kind of expect them mix up the summer. Yeah, I knew it was going to be too crazy, but I expected something, right? Just kind of weird. Tim says this. I'm glad Army didn't give anyone away for a minimum return. There is a valid argument to be made that UFAs who were not traded to contenders have tremendous motivation to perform over the final 20 games to earn another NHL contract. Blues are so shooting for the playoffs. Good. I'm going to actually quote tweet that and says respect because that's a valid point. Somebody says Army flunks again. F. Also valid. I made a tweet. It also has 40 likes, and it says, "Get rid of Armstrong." Because I'm sorry, when I saw future considerations, I know why they're getting rid of Subban. I do, but I was like, is that all that's going to be done? Somebody says overreaction. and somebody says, "No, she has a point. Have you looked at the cap space?" Because again, the trade deadline is not just about winning now. It's not just about draft picks. It's also freeing up your cap space. It helps you with the off season. There is so much that can happen. And listen, I'm a big Zach Dean fan, okay? People are calling me moron. People are calling me stupid. I think Zach Dean should be playing up here at this point. Um, if you think I'm overreacting because I want a future that is more productive, a future that will better fit this team, then yeah, I'm a moron because I'm sorry. Like, I want to go to the playoffs. I do. But be realistic here with me. Do you think it's going to actually happen? Giving yourself more draft picks, free up your cap space even, allows you to build for a more productive team that could get you back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, that will get you to be a cup contending team again. You're not going to get that with their current roster. You're certainly not going to get as good deals, if that makes sense, because teams won't be desperate like they are. I mean, the contending teams, I'm saying, like the Colorados and all those teams, they're desperate right now, by the way, to win a cup at the moment. Maybe not the I mean, I guess the Avs, yeah. Like, yeah, the Avs. The Knights, like there's so many teams, and I'm just putting this out there. Not all the trades that went down were good trades this deadline. I'm not saying for us, I'm just saying in general, like Pittsburgh, like trash, Devils, like what? Um, but again, I'm locked on Blues. I'm focused on our team, and yeah, I'm not gonna back down from my opinion of, listen, I just want different moves that are gonna better the team for years to come, not just for a temporary, "Woohoo, we did something," you know what I'm saying? It's just whatever. Anyways, I will talk to you on Twitter at Locked On Blues or Haley T. Simon. I'll talk to you next week. I'm on vacations. I've been actually doing this every night, so, yeah, it's been quite an adventure. I'm so tired from like my day excursion, and then I'm like, locked on blues. So, yes, I will talk to you. And like always, let's go blues.